It's time for Preserving Your Dignity and Your Money, Planning for Successful Aging with Nugen Law. And now your host, J. Bryan Nugen, estate planning and elder law attorney.
Good morning, and welcome to Preserving Your Dignity and Your Money, Planning for Successful Aging with Nugen Law. I'm attorney J. Bryan Nugen, founder of Nugen Law, and your host for our program. The purpose of our show is to have weekly, in-depth conversations about matters relevant to folks as they walk down the path of successful aging. Our listeners will learn what it is to age with dignity and how best to protect their money. I've been practicing law for 3 decades. I'm licensed to practice in Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, and Florida, and actively represent clients in all 4 states. My practice, the attorneys, and our interdisciplinary team of professionals who practice with me concentrate on working with areas in estate planning and elder law and areas related to them, such as protecting money from nursing home stays, securing benefits from programs including Medicaid and the VA, geriatric care coordination, estate and trust administration, guardianships, and planning for those with special needs. Nugen Law sees clients in many stages of life, but commonly we have folks reaching out when they or a loved one are showing signs of needing help. Those signs may include a chronic ailment or progressive decline before, during, or after a hospitalization, an instance of incapacity, caregiver burnout, stress on family members, living alone, single individuals without children, or married individuals without children as well, so they don't have that built-in support network. Due to some or all those instances I mentioned, they may be reaching out to Nugen Law. As a reminder, Nugen Law represents clients in Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, and Florida. Nugen Law takes a life care planning approach to client representation, meaning that not only do our attorneys prepare any legal instruments appropriate for your unique situation, without additional clients, our active clients also have access to our affiliated certified public accounting firm for preparation of their individual tax returns. Our clients are invited to client-only educational opportunities, have access to our Medicare specialist who advises on what Medicare plan and supplemental plan to secure, the ability to have your legal documents revised as often as is necessary when appropriate, again, without additional costs, and most relevant to today's radio show, unlimited access to our elder care coordinator. So our ECC is a person who assists with whatever help our clients may need as they age, including setting tours of various facilities, arranging for help in client homes, arranging moving and downsizing, and advocating for Nugen Law clients when necessary. If you hear something in today's broadcast which resonates with you, an area in which we may be able to help, please call Nugen Law at 260-925-3738, speak with one of our intake specialists, and schedule a meeting for either our Fort Wayne or Auburn locations. You are also encouraged to see us online at www.nugenlaw.com. Today, we have a familiar guest with us, Brian Grubb, or BG, as we call him, the Elder Care Coordinator with Nugen Law I was just referring to. BG, welcome.
Good morning, Brian.
So please explain to our audience the role of an Elder Care Coordinator at Nugen Law. What's the position, and how do clients of Nugen Law receive your services?
The Elder Care Coordinator does a variety of things, but one of the main things is helping people navigate through some of the systems that are in place with Medicaid, helping them get answers to any kind of questions, resources that they need, helping them tour facilities. I do things such as like I'll set up places for people to see if they're thinking about moving out of their home or if one of the family members is needing to move. Also advocate for people at all levels. So if somebody's in a facility, I'll be attending care plan meetings. I also attend doctor's appointments, those kind of things. So a little bit of everything.
Excellent. So it's really bespoke. It's unique to each client and what they need. And my gosh, BG, you have booked flights for folks. You have organized for hoarding services to clean out. You have convened family meetings and discussions. You've found lost Social Security cards, and
pretty much anything and everything.
Yep.
Help people put their air conditioner in, figure out their TV, that kind of stuff.
That's great.
But yeah, you name it. But really a problem solver,
Sure.
really, and helping people. A lot of times people are they don't know what to do. I met with a gentleman yesterday that had several issues. He just signed on with us. And I met with him in the office just by chance. He happened to be in the office and had a question. So we sat down for about 45 minutes and got a lot of things going just like that. And it was just helpful to kind of ease his mind a little bit.
Sure. And I think it's important for folks to realize, I alluded to this earlier, but once they've retained our services and they're getting access to you as our elder care coordinator, we're not tracking our time. We're not billing on an hourly basis. It's an annual value-based flat fee. They see you once a day, once a week, 10 times a week, twice a month. It's the same cost. So why not take advantage of that if you're working with us? Don't be shy.
Yep. In fact, the lady that I met with, we just helped her sign into a facility for her and her husband, really nice facility. I was with her for 4 hours on Friday, with her a couple hours a day, and I'll be with her again tomorrow. So for a couple hours. And again, no difference. It doesn't matter to me and doesn't matter to our company. They can use me as much. And in fact, there was a gentleman I met yesterday. I encouraged him. I said, please call. You have some questions. Write down your questions. You got some more information that you need for these questions. Call the attorney and make sure you make an appointment for that. It doesn't matter, again, if you see them, once or 10 times. So
excellent. So do you find that helpful for your clients to relieve their worry about having to pay?
Yeah, and sometimes I think you just have to reassure them of that.
Right.
I think the mindset is always,
They're nervous.
every minute it's going to cost them,
it doesn't.
$100,
Yeah.
And no, I just have to remind them, like, hey, you paid for this already.
Sure.
You were deserving of whatever you need. So,
and our services for our elder care coordinator at Nugen Law, contractually, they're working with us for 12 months at a time, but they can renew that year over year.
Yeah,
and it's frankly at a significantly reduced cost in years 2, 3, et cetera. But BG, ideally, when do you start working with your clients?
Well, as soon as I get their information and kind of what direction or what kind of things they need, I usually try to make a phone call within the next, 24, 48 hours. So, but then I will, like this gentleman that called me today, he had some more questions, so I'm going to get with him. I already called him back today. We get started right away on things. There's no sense in waiting for anything else to happen or change, and sometimes things do happen like that, But my goal is to just be with people immediately and get started with whatever. So I would assess what's going on with their family situation, kind of find out what direction they are thinking about, and see if it's appropriate or not. In fact, the gentleman I met with yesterday again, they were thinking initially assisted living, but it doesn't sound like that's really going to be appropriate maybe for them. And they don't know that. So I'm here to help with that and tell them how that system works so that when we do look at facilities, that we're looking at appropriate facilities and things that make sense to them.
And when you talk about appropriate facilities, not only facilities that can provide the level of care that they need, but that fit them and their personality and their lifestyle.
Yeah,
we've had this discussion privately, BG. We may have an opinion about a good fit, a facility that may be a good fit for someone, and we think they're going to love it, and they opt going for another facility. For the classic example is our one client that loved euchre. So they walked into a facility, they were playing in euchre, and that was cinched the deal. That was it.
Or just the arrangement. Somebody else recently, we toured 4 different facilities, and it was really just the arrangement of the apartment that made all the difference for this person who was blind. So, we never know. In fact, the other day we had some scheduled tours, and one of the places I just felt like it's not going to be a good fit.
Right.
So, we skipped it. We just ended up calling them and letting them know we weren't going to be coming because I didn't really think that it was going to be appropriate for them. And, a big part of that is just building that relationship and trust with people for me so that they know that I'm looking out for them and that I'm knowledgeable enough to give them good places, information, whatever it is. It's not just places. And that they actually just trust that I'm helping them and that they believe
you have no agenda.
No.
You have no dog in the fight. You are really there to serve them.
Yeah. And individualized treatment, it's all based on what their needs are.
Right.
I'm not going to tell them some things that I would mention to somebody else. It's going to be individualized to whatever their desires are and to their needs. So
BG, when of course, when the client has signed with us, you're reaching out to them within 24, 48 hours. Excellent. But in their aging process.
Oh, okay.
Is it better for you to see them when they're in crisis mode? Is it better for you to get to know them before they're in that stage of life? What's the ideal?
Most definitely, the sooner the better, before crisis.
Why is that?
Well, because in crisis mode, you're just responding. Mm-hmm. If you're preparing ahead, looking at places ahead of time, or if you're trying to prepare for whatever life needs are, then you're not responding in the moment. That's a stressful thing for everybody, and you may not make the best decisions when you're in a crisis mode. So at that point in time, it's harder to get services.
Sure.
So there's a lot of reasons not to do it when it's like urgent. In fact, a family just recently been talking to them for months about prepare. And guess what? A crisis occurred with a health emergency for an individual. And it's not that we can't address it and handle those things, but it would have been a whole lot easier for this family. And it's overwhelming. When it's in a crisis situation, it's way more overwhelming for the family, individuals. So,
I think that you also have the opportunity to know the client's baseline.
Yeah.
So you can recognize a change in their cognition. You can recognize a change in their physical ability, a change in their demeanor. The longer you get to know them, and can relay that information not only to the client, I'm recognizing changes, but to loved ones and folks that are in the lives of the client. I'm recognizing this. I think that maybe we need to have a doctor involved, or think about moving, those types of things.
Yeah, and actually that happens quite a bit. I'll go visit somebody, and I try to see somebody fairly regular. I mean, I try to see people on a monthly basis. Sometimes, again, some people are in more need, so I'm seeing those people more regular, like maybe every week or a couple times a week for some of those people. But for other people, if I don't see them for a period of time, say they're in a nursing facility, and I come back in a month and I see and I'll report to the family member, hey, son, daughter, I just noticed that dad's not really, acting the same, or like he's not remembering the same or interacting the same. I can report that. In fact, I had one individual just recently, the son said, I appreciate you saying that because I felt it, but I see him every day.
Right.
So I don't notice the difference as much as when somebody like myself comes in and sees them on a monthly basis. Mm-hmm. So I recognize that and pass that information on.
When you're first meeting with a Nugen Law client as their elder care coordinator, are you speaking with people more than just the client? Are you...
Oh, yeah.
Who else are you meeting?
Yeah, well, I meet with the whole family, any involved individual. So a lot of times it's kids, a lot of times it's spouses, a lot of times it could be in-laws, daughter-in-laws, son-in-laws, father-in-laws, whatever. So it's a team of approach for me. The more information that I get, the better. So everybody that has some input, I want to listen to and help to make decisions, that kind of thing. Yesterday I was at a local hospital with a family who were considering hospice for their loved one, a father and a spouse. And so, I told them, I met with the hospice person and the family members and the individual. We were all in the same room together. And we had a great conversation about what hospice is and this person's decisions. Mm-hmm. So, and I think sometimes they look for somebody on the outside to also say that's a good decision, or that's a smart decision, or that's an okay decision.
Well, I think, too, when we're oftentimes the client finds it most difficult to listen to a suggestion by a child, by a family member.
Yeah.
And when you have really an expert such as yourself from the outside coming in with no agenda, you're there to help.
Yep.
That presentation is so much more welcomed by the client. And it allows the child to be a child.
Yeah.
And to love their parent and enjoy that time versus
right.
telling them, you're going to do this, Mom, you're going to do that, Dad, this is my opinion. And frankly, the parent still sees them as an 8-year-old, and that will never work.
Yeah. And actually sometimes there's opportunities for me to remind that, like, hey, like yesterday in this hospice meeting, this person I directly addressed, did you understand what she was saying?
Right.
The kids, did you understand what they were saying? So I want to make sure too that everybody is involved and that we understand like the importance of decision making for individuals.
I think what you were just mentioning is so important. You attend care plan meetings at nursing homes. Yep. You would could participate in activities like that at assisted living facilities. So at doctor's offices, doctor's appointments, so you can explain to the client, this is what they were saying.
Yeah.
This is how this affects you.
Right.
This is what we're looking at now. You've been through it for literally decades you have a very long career. And it's not a case of first impression for you. You also can be more objective. You are able to express, this is what they're saying. I feel that this may be appropriate for you. Because when you're the child in that situation, when you're the client, the parent in that situation, your head is spinning.
Oh, yeah.
So you're able to cut through that, advocate for them, explain to them what's going on to give them a greater level of comfort.
Yeah. Yeah. And care plan meetings are like different things that I'm helping people with. Like I was with this individual the other day who just said, I was so thankful that you were there because you were asking questions that I didn't even think of. And were able to clarify some things for me that were just helpful with the decision-making process. So
BG, is there a commonality which you see running through your clients?
Well, there's a lot of commonalities. I mean, there's always differences, but a lot of commonalities. People in need, people just struggling with processes that they never had to go through before. So yes, again, all individualized, but everybody pretty much has the same thing. I didn't know about this. I didn't know how to deal with this. I didn't know.
And that's what you're providing to them.
Yeah.
Is you're bringing a depth of knowledge and awareness of benefits that they can receive from the community they may not even be aware that are out there. It could be transportation. It could be in-home meals. It could be direct care being provided in their home, how to pay for all of that or how not to pay for that, benefits that are available to them through Medicaid or the VA. So that wealth of knowledge that they're getting from using you is huge. Yeah,
the resources that are available, like this morning we're walking down the hallway and I was talking to this individual and a person from a facility, and I was telling them about, foot care, how they can get foot care, how they can get a program where a nurse practitioner can come to their home, how they could get a hospital bed without having to pay for it. And it's kind of blowing this lady's mind a little bit because she kept looking at me like, how do you know all this stuff? So for me, again, it's just having a long career with a lot of different individuals and a lot of different just resources in my playbook, so that I can help people with whatever they need. But again, that comes from experience, and it also comes from the willingness for me to continue to learn what's out there and new resources. I don't know it all, but I have a lot of information that is very helpful to people, and they really appreciate that.
As a reminder, Nugen Law represents clients in Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, and Florida. We take a life care planning approach to client representation, meaning that not only do our attorneys prepare any legal instruments appropriate for your unique situation, without additional cost, our clients also have access to our affiliated certified public accounting firm for preparation of their individual tax returns, are invited to our client-only educational opportunities, have access to our Medicare specialist who advises on what Medicare plan and supplemental plan to secure, the ability to have your legal documents revised and rewritten as necessary without additional cost, and when appropriate, unlimited access to our elder care coordinator. BG is in the studio with us today. So BG is a person who assists with whatever help our clients may need as they age, including setting tours of various facilities, arranging for help in their homes, arranging moving and downsizing, advocating for our clients when necessary. If you hear something in today's broadcast which resonates with you, an area in which we may be able to help, please call Nugen Law at 260-925-3738, speak with one of our intake specialists, and schedule a meeting for either our Fort Wayne or Auburn locations. You are also encouraged to see us online at www.nugenlaw.com. BG, what are some of your most challenging cases, and how did you navigate those challenges?
I think some of the most challenging cases, some of them are like end-of-life stuff, that kind of thing. And then there's some that are just, there's many needs. So kind of trying to determine like what's priorities. So we have some situations where there's just a lot going on. So we have to figure out like how to approach that. So that's a big one. And then the end of life stuff is always kind of difficult because people are struggling, you know. And again, just being able to, again, get that trust, to build that trust. I think, again, in everything that I do, I always want people to know that I'm in their corner, I am trustworthy, and that I care about their situation. And this isn't just a job for me. No. I really, really just touches my heart to make a difference with people. So
and this phrase, I don't use this phrase lightly. You truly do have a servant's heart. You truly do, and you make an impact on our clients. Our clients are constantly complimenting us on the services that you provide, and you touch people's lives. Yep. And they will not forget having worked with you, and their families won't forget. And we sincerely appreciate you being part of the team. It's a huge part of what we do to serve our clients.
Yeah,
and
I'm honored.
You're
honored.
The key to that.
Yeah, I'm really honored. In fact, this morning I was with somebody who hadn't really, really aware of what I do. Yeah. And with this particular client that I'm working with, she just shaking her head this morning. She said, "We need you to talk to us more because we have never seen this kind of service, and what you're doing is so helpful to this individual. We just can't believe how much you do for her." Right. And so I think it's just again, it's just an honor for me to serve people, and that's my heart.
Well, we appreciate you being part of the Nugen Law team.
Thank you.
So how do you ensure effective communication and collaboration among the various healthcare providers, family members, et cetera, that are involved in a client's care?
Communication is key to everything I do. So, always communicating with people regularly, making sure that I'm communicating in a way that they like to be communicated with. So that could be with email, it could be by phone, it could be by text message. I always try to find out what people's preferences are because I want to make sure that I'm able to get with them in the way they like. But always being on top of that. We have a weekly meeting where I look over my list of people and see, who I've touched base with, that kind of thing. So we have reminders kind of built in kind of tickers for me to do that. But again, for me, I think it's just making sure that I'm constantly in touch with people's needs. I called a family this morning just to check in because I was going to help them do some work on Medicaid waiver issue with them to get in touch with. And I found out that he was in severe pain. I'm like, okay, now this person, you need to get to the emergency room. And if we need help with your loved one at home, then I'm going to help you with that. So sometimes we don't know because people are reluctant. Sometimes they don't always reach out to you.
I think people have a concern. If I express the fact that I need help, if I express how poorly I'm feeling, I'm going to have to leave my home, or
Yeah.
there's going to be a major change.
Yeah.
And the reality is,
Mm-hmm.
you have the ability to put them in touch with companies, individuals,
Yeah.
programs that will allow them to remain in their homes successfully. They just need to communicate with you.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, this morning it was a great example where I talked to this person and said, hey, you need to get in the emergency room. And the person, he is a caretaker of somebody at home.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, what do we need to do for her? If you need to go to the hospital and you're in the hospital, right away I'm thinking,
Right.
what kind of solutions can we come up with
Sure.
for her? Because she can't live by herself.
Right.
And she does have in-home care, but it's just not enough.
Mm-hmm.
So,
to our listeners, if you text the word Nugen, Nugen, to the number 45364, you'll receive a text message with our contact information. Or you may call us at 260-925-3738, or send us an email at help@nugenlaw.com to set a meeting at either our Fort Wayne or Auburn offices. BG, what type of feedback do you receive from clients and their families about services you provide as an elder care coordinator with Nugen Law?
well, I mean, in general, the feedback I get, I would just say that they're so appreciative of the things that I've done for them. I mean, I've made some life-changing differences for some people, and they're not always like life-changing, but they're just so appreciative that I've helped them ease their mind, made them more comfortable with whatever we're doing, and that I'm there, that they can rely on me for whatever it is. And I always tell people, like, if you don't know who to call at our office, call me.
Right.
And I'll direct you to wherever you need to go. And that personal relationship with them gives them a comfort level with me that I think that really helps to kind of supersede the whole rest of the office thing. You know, it's like, okay, I'm going to call Bryan about this, BG about this, because I trust him. He'll guide me. So.
I tell my clients, you're going to work with me for sure as your attorney. However, you're really going to work more of your time with BG, Bryan Grubb, as our elder care coordinator. You're going to be working with our Medicaid specialist, with our Medicare specialist, more than you actually work with the attorney. That's where all of those, our CPA firm, all of those additional services, you are going to be working with on a much more frequent basis than with me.
Yeah, a lot of times people say, you know, we had no idea really what you were about. In fact, the guy I met yesterday, brand new client, he said, oh, you're the guy that and I spent 45 minutes with him problem solving, and he called me again first thing this morning.
Right.
So,
I think I can explain to folks what the elder care coordinator does, but until they're actually experiencing it and use it, it's a concierge service, frankly. Until they're receiving that level of care, a level of attention, they don't appreciate what all it does for them.
Yeah, they don't really understand what it means until I start interacting with them. Then they see the value.
In your role as elder care coordinator at Nugen Law, how do you help clients and families manage the costs associated with long-term care?
Oh, well, one of the things I do, again, is just helping them if whatever their needs are, is identifying them. I can help them look at different places. Long-term care, of course, isn't paid for by regular Medicare. So we have to help people a lot of times get Medicaid, which you can do. It doesn't really matter. I mean, you don't assume that you can't get Medicaid. So for me, a lot of times it's, comparing for people, like we do the math. In fact, this guy that came in yesterday, we were talking about what that's going to cost if you have to pay out of pocket for a period of time. So again, it's just bringing to their attention what all it means when somebody's in long-term care. Today, helping somebody get back to their own home or getting back to out of rehab, and then managing some things like, hey, if we do this now, if we talk to the physician now, maybe we get that hospital bed for you at home. Instead of you going home after being released and then you paying out of pocket a few $1,000s.
And you're coordinating all of that for your clients.
Yes. Yeah.
Sure. Our listeners should understand that your serving as an elder care coordinator is not the only benefit they receive when working with Nugen Law. With the information you've learned from your client as an elder care coordinator, how do you work with the attorneys on the team such that our clients are best served? And we just have a few seconds left.
Yeah.
But how do you work with the attorneys?
Well, it's a team approach. So I'm constantly coordinating with our benefits person, with the attorneys, and whoever needs. So I'm constantly talking to them and updating them on what we're doing with people and what their needs are. And same thing. That information goes both ways. So constantly communicating.
Thank you, BG.
Yep.
Again, to our listeners, if you heard something in today's broadcast which resonated with you, give us a call, 260-925-3738. We'd be pleased to schedule an intake conference with you. Our time is running short. We need to wrap up our discussion with BG, the Nugen Law Elder Care Coordinator. Thank you, BG, for coming in today. And thank you for listening to Preserving Your Dignity and Your Money, Planning for Successful Aging with Nugen Law. Enjoy your weekend.
You've been listening to Preserving Your Dignity and Your Money, Planning for Successful Aging with Nugen Law. For more information, log on to NugenLaw.com or email help@NugenLaw.com. Nothing stated in today's program should be considered as legal advice, should not be considered as having created an attorney-client relationship between show host and guests and any listener. Nugen Law is not liable for anything that happens as a result of a listener relying on provided information as legal advice. The content is for informational purposes only.
Podcasts by Federated Media.